Come on.
Head, Sergio.
Wow, that is going to make the rounds on social media. That's like a cartoon.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
It is a toupee.
And he just took it up.
And welcome in to InsideEdge Primetime. To my right, your left is Chad Bryan. I am Eli Moon, and hope you're having a great start to your week. Jarrell Miller, he had a victorious weekend at Madison Square Garden, but his toupee, as my guy Rob Rizicki would say, Chad, was not having a great week. And the barber shop that had done luxury suite, they did not seem to be in the greatest of spirits probably after that one, as they were the barbershop that took care of him. But Chad, Jarrell Miller gets a W. It seems like we all had kind of a good weekend. How are you doing and how are we feeling?
I feel like I got my top knocked off, man. I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling pretty good. Listen, today it got up to almost I don't want to say freezing level, almost up to the thawing level, right?
Yeah.
I saw 26, I think 26 degrees was the high. That was pretty exciting. I can't remember the last time we were even over 32 degrees. But it's funny because I walked outside and I was like, oh, it's warm. Like it felt like spring. It was a big difference from 20 below 3 days ago. Yeah, I'm all right, man. I'm doing pretty good for a Monday. How are you, man?
I am good. It's the start of the week. You're right. A heat wave has hit Cleveland, and I just don't know how to feel anymore. But Punxsutawney Phil, he did see a shadow.
Okay.
Chad,
There were conflicting reports. I didn't know which way it happened.
Yeah. Well, at least the reports I saw.
Okay.
Nowadays there's a lot of reports, a lot of different things, but they had him seeing a shadow, or he saw it, and now the difference is, I believe there's Buckeye Chuck here in Ohio.
Okay.
And he didn't see a shadow,
Oh,
which
okay.
I believe would signify a early spring for Ohio. So yeah, Buckeye Chuck, yeah, he did not see a shadow. So So maybe here in Ohio we may have an early spring.
Okay.
I gotta say this before we dive into any sports here. We got a lot to cover here for everybody tuning in. We're gonna talk about the NFL Pro Bowl here in just a moment. Talk about Cleveland centric. So for any Cleveland people out there tuning in, our Cleveland audience, we're gonna talk about who the king of Cleveland could be, and then Roger Goodell did speak with the media. We're gonna talk about all that. Before we get into any of that, though, I think it's crazy what they do with Punxsutawney Phil. Chad, have you seen the display they do with this guy, or this Phil? I mean, they are just like,
There's a guy. Yeah. Wow.
they're displaying them to the audience and dance. It's like, Opa. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I feel bad for Punxsutawney Phil, and I can understand why he's just gonna see his shadow every time. I mean,
Right.
I would too if you're just dancing around and
Yeah, it's 6 more weeks.
me around.
You. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he could choose, he'd probably choose 12 weeks of winter. I mean, my goodness, crazy. But yeah, just absolutely insane. Thank you for everybody tuning in. This is InsideEdge Primetime. That's Chad Bryan. I'm Eli Moon. We're gonna dive right into it here. And Chad, let me ask you this: with the NFL Super Bowl coming up, there's a lot to be talked about. But would you believe that there's something even crazier going on right at the beginning of the week?
Tell me about it.
It's the 2026 NFL Pro Bowl games. It's tomorrow. All jokes aside, obviously the Super Bowl a much more important thing. But are you excited for the NFL Pro Bowl games?
Man, I want to say yes, but that would I don't want to lie either. Listen, I don't know. I mean, I'll switch back and forth, and I'll check it out every once in a while just to kind of see the optics of it. It's weird. It's in a convention center, right?
Yeah.
So punters, you're not going to play. Sorry, because this place you saw the Moscow Center has 37-foot ceilings. What? How you gonna? And I get it. The Pro Bowl's not serious anyway. It's flag football. But it's weird to be a punter named to the Pro Bowl, and then it's like, well, what am I going to go stand there and watch? Like, what do I do, right? Are they going to have Punxsutawney Phil at this thing? Are they going to fly him out west and dance him around? I mean, what are they going to do to make this thing entertaining in a center with 37-foot ceilings? Like, is there going to be I don't know. Are they going to have a meeting about, like, home insurance or something? And the other, I don't know. It's just weird. The whole thing strikes me as very odd, I guess. 2,000 people, by the way, in attendance, in person. Okay. No wonder everybody opted out. Right?
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, and for the Pro Bowl fans out there, they're doing obviously a skills challenge, and then they're going to do a 7-on-7 flag football game. But yeah, Chad, a lot of things. I mean, the center they're holding it in doesn't seem very ideal for the game of football. And then also it just seems like we are long away or far away from the days of Sean Taylor laying the lumber in a Pro Bowl game and Adrian Peterson reading a story about Adrian Peterson being told to chill out. Basically, hey, everybody's having drinks at the pool. Adrian Peterson's locked in, and they're like, hey, you don't have to go so hard in this game. And he ended up running the ball for like over 20 times. Like it just went off, and we're just so far from that. And I'm not necessarily mad. I guess if it's to protect the players, and you see with the Guardian helmets or the caps, the Guardian caps, and everything else in NFL games, you don't want to see your star player go down in a game that's just supposed to really bring people closer to the game or invite casual fans into the game, whatever. Just introduce new people to the game of football and the NFL as a league itself. So I guess I understand from that point, but I still got to be honest. I miss when they actually were playing. When you saw, this is the studded defense versus the explosive offense, and we're gonna see some real fun. And it's turned into to kind of just figuring it out. And it seems like that with all the All-Star games. Let's be very clear, except for MLB. They haven't got creative with that yet because it's really not broken. You just need the AL versus the NL. But NBA, NFL, they've experimented. It doesn't seem like it's been for the better in terms of like a good product besides just getting to see the stars. Yeah. But then you look at like the NHL when you have the the World versus the USA or the different teams there. That or the Four Nations. My apologies. I think that was a good switch up, but I mean, just interesting.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I lost you for a second there. Yeah.
Oh, you were all good. I just said very interesting. Where like the NHL thrives in that, but the NFL and the NBA haven't been able to have much success creating a different alternative that's still an entertaining product for fans tuning in, wanting to see some semblance of the game they watch every Sunday. If you're an NFL fan, or throughout the NBA season, if you're a basketball fan,
Yeah. The basketball All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game, there's no defense in sight, right? It's basically just a shoot. Maybe it would be better off being just a big just a big game of horse or something, right? Just have these guys making some crazy shots or whatever, seeing who can follow suit. What up, baseball? And this isn't a shot at football or basketball. I'm a baseball guy. I mean, I'm a hardcore baseball guy. I played baseball not most of my life. I forgot how old I was. About half my life. It's not most of my life anymore. I can't say that. But I'm a baseball guy, and I barely watch the MLB All-Star game. I mean, the home run derby is still kind of fun, and maybe this is nostalgia. Maybe this is like little kid me, just remembering back to maybe I'm putting a little extra glitz and glamour on the memory or whatever. But I feel like the NBA All-Star Weekend was amazing when I was a kid. You had superstars involved in the three-point contest, superstars involved in the dunk contest. That was the best part of it. I mean, I've rarely watched the All-Star game. I couldn't have cared less about the All-Star game. But everything, the skills competitions, they're pretty cool. But man, the three-point contest and that dunk contest were so much fun to watch as a kid. I really didn't watch the Pro Bowl much as a kid. I liked the All-Star game. I think one thing they need to do, they never should have gone with All-Star uniforms. I get it. It's marketing. I understand, right? Like, come buy because otherwise it's just, hey, buy a Reds jersey with an All-Star patch, right? That's probably not exciting. That's not a fun way to make a bunch of money if you're a large conglomerate, whatever. But I loved the different uniforms on the field. I always loved that look as a kid. I thought that was really cool in the MLB All-Star game. I think some of these All-Star games, but hockey's cool. Hockey's fine. Hockey's actually pretty cool. It's really cool. But all the other All-Star weekends, All-Star games, All-Star breaks, whatever, they're all kind of broken, Eli. Right?
Yeah. I mean, and not to, just, I know we're talking overall here, but just to, I guess, go to NBA for a moment, even Mac McClung. I mean, the reason the All-Star dunk contest, on Saturday night, the reason it's got some sort of buzz is Mac McClung.
Yeah.
I mean, coming from like the G League, not really being on an NBA team, may get a 10-day contract, but he's winning the All-Star, or rather the slam dunk contest. And he declared that he's not going to be in it this year. And it's like, so, I mean, what are you going to get excited for? And I think it's just kind of been making its way towards this, though. I mean, for years we, here in Cleveland and across the NBA, we wanted LeBron James to be in the slam dunk contest. He was never in it. And then you look at the NFL, and when they started kind of leaning towards the concussions, as far as like safety towards that, like, hey, we need to focus on how to improve that. They obviously started leaning towards, well, we shouldn't have an 18th game in this case where these guys are going head to head. Now it talks of the NFL having an 18th game. They don't want a 19th game potentially, where
so, get 46 pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I mean, just seems like an odd time. I mean, what would you? Is there an alternative? What would you do, I guess, to make the Pro Bowl exciting, but also keep it safe for the athletes? Because flag football, I mean, don't get me wrong, I played flag football when I was growing up. It was riveting, but I don't know how exciting it is watching 28 to 35-year-olds play flag football when you watch them, really play football all season long. So I guess what would you do to not only, keep eyes on the sport during this, because that's what the NFL is trying to do, but also I guess make it fun for like us, like me, you, everybody watching. I mean, do you go back to a Pro Bowl like football game, or I mean, what do you do?
Well, okay, first of all, we talked about the NBA All-Star game, and I want to say the score of the previous NBA All-Star game was 211 to 186. I mean, if that's not some NBA Live 95 12-minute quarter garbage, I don't know what it is. Anyway, that's beside the point.
They just have the sliders up. They just have the sliders up.
99. I'm shooting threes from half court. I'm draining everything. Leading score has 97 points. Whatever, it's fine. It's me. It's the guy I created to look like me. Back in the day, you couldn't even do that. You had to like pick a player that kind of looked like you, right?
Yeah. And then like when they started letting you get to that, you had to have the patience to like sit there and sculpt like the perfect my player.
And you bump your controller a little bit too much, and your nose goes back into your face. Like, oh, you know what I mean? I had it. It looked like my nose, and now you can do. I like the companion apps, like MLB The Show. You can take a picture of yourself and scan it in or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it never works. I can never sign in to both at the same time. You have to you have to be like an IT professional. You got to be a code cracker to even figure out how to get whatever. Stupid. Whatever. Okay, so what would I do to fix the Pro Bowl? That's what we're talking about. I've thought about this a little bit. I think this would be fun. Since we're just doing 7-on-7 anyway, who cares? Do we have to have a bunch of substitutes?
Oh, lost chat for just a moment.
More people in. Let's make 8 7-on-7. Oh, am I there? Am I back?
Yep, you're right back. We lost you for a half second, and we can't miss your plans to fix the Pro Bowl. So please, once again.
No, we're all good, man. You never know with Wi-Fi, but okay. So how many people are in the Pro Bowl? How many players do we know? What's the total?
So the way they're doing it right now, they're doing 7-on-7 flag football game. The AFC Pro Bowl roster right now, just for everybody at home that's wondering, quarterbacks Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Drake May for the AFC, and then same for the AFC, just all down the line here. Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane, and James Cook, running back. Patrick Ricard for fullback from the Ravens. Then Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, Cortland Sutton, Brock Bowers, Travis Kelce, and then you got, of course, your line. No offense to the line and linebackers. We got all of them out there as well. It seems like, and then we'll go to the AFC or NFC in a moment, but they're going to rotate these guys in and out like throughout for offense and defense. Just real quick, the NFC offense is Matthew Stafford, Sam Darnold, Dak Prescott. Darnold obviously replaced by Jalen Hurts, and Stafford replaced by Goff. Then you are looking at, and my apologies, on the AFC, Shador, obviously, our guy Shador Sanders, and then Joe Flacco for Drake May, Flacco's first appearance. So back to the NFC here. Stafford replaced by Goff, Darnold, Hurts in for him, and then Dak Prescott, and Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Juszczyk, then Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, replaced by CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Amon-Ra St. Brown, then Trey McBride, George Kittle, who's replaced by Jake Ferguson, and then, of course, your lines. Okay. So that was just a quick rundown real quick. Obviously, some replacements for May and Darnold. They're in the Super Bowl this Sunday. But, okay, so 7-on-7, it seems like they're rotating them in and out. The long story short for you.
Okay. So instead of one 7-on-7 game where you have AFC versus NFC and a bunch of guys rotating in and out, you can't keep track of what's going on, why don't we let 10 more guys in? 98 guys, because we have 88 guys, 44 from each conference right now, right?
Yeah.
So we let 10 more guys in. We have 49 from each conference. Now, you don't even have to do that. You can just split it up. You can have 14 teams of 7 guys. You don't need a substitution for a 7-on-7 game. Let's have a little tournament, right? Like first team to whatever, 30 points or whatever, 35 points wins. We could have a whole 7-on-7 tournament. You could go back and forth from game to game. You could have 2 separate fields going, right? 2 different games. You could even break it down and go half the field, right? So you could have 4 games going on at once if you have a facility with 2 fields. Have a little mini tournament. I think that would be so much more fun than just watching these guys go out and go through the motions. I think because when you make it a little bit more of a competition, and now you're there with your 6 other guys, like you want to win, right? Like it's kind of a big deal. Like it's a smaller group, it's more intimate. I think you just all of a sudden it like kind of brings up some creative juices, and you want to go out there and win that thing, right? Maybe there's a little cash incentive or whatever for the team that wins. Maybe you do it like the NBA where you have 14 team captains or whatever. We'd have to let 14 quarterbacks in. I mean, everybody's gonna be really mad at that. But I think maybe less guys would opt out if there was a chance to go out there and have a little bit of fun and compete against your buddies, and like you might end up on a different team than your teammate, but that's how it goes. I mean, it's a 7-on-7 tournament. I think that would be one way I think you could fix it up that way. I would watch that. I think I would actually be interested in that.
I think that's a great idea. I think also just to enhance that, the skills challenge, they have like the quarterbacks throwing, and then they have the different ones. I think they should make it more like an NFL combine.
Okay.
Where maybe you put like a relay race where like, okay, quarterbacks throw, they have to hit, the target 3 different times. And then after that, you can get like a 40-yard dash from one of your receivers or, whatever. Like, I just think putting like that, like some sort of relay race factor in, of course, you got to put some compensation, some prize to make it worthwhile for the players because they're not going to just go full out in a relay race. But I think it would be cool like that. And I think just having something different, I don't know. At this point, you got to, I guess, keep trying something different because I don't know. I'll probably tune in to answer, I guess, the question about if we're excited. I will tune in to see if, it's worth watching. But I guess it's more so just to hear, like, what the guys say. They do a lot of interviews during these Pro Bowl games and, like, ask guys what's going on and how they feel. And if they're impending or, whatever, free agent, I think it'll be interesting just to hear what these guys say. But as far as, like, the games, I'm not grabbing popcorn and watching the 7-on-7 flag football game wondering what the outcome is going to be because these guys don't care.
No, at this point, I'd rather it be like a company picnic where it's like you have the 3-legged sack race, like the egg, relay or whatever with the spoons, whatever. I mean, at this point, that would be more fun to watch for me. But yeah, I think if you made it a little bit of a tournament and kind of, put some stakes on it or whatever, not steaks. You can have steak. That's fine. Steak and potatoes. That's great.
I just think that sounds great.
Yeah, it does sound good. I just think if you put something on it, I think it would be more fun to watch instead of just one game with that whole huge roster of 44 versus 44. I mean, it's basically like 2 full NFL teams going at it. Just break it down and have little mini 7-on-7 games. I think that would be a lot of fun, actually. But whatever.
Yes, I'm absolutely with that. And you know what? We have some people tuning in, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure you go ahead and give us a follow, subscribe wherever you're at on Inside Edge Network at Inside Edge Net on all the socials: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. But we have a comment here from Mark F5X8D chat, and he asked, "What is the Pro Bowl?"
What even?
And we're trying to figure that out too, Mark.
We don't know. Nobody knows.
Chad and I are trying to break that down here. We've been trying to figure it out for the last 18 minutes or so, and we still aren't sure. So if you know what maybe the Pro Bowl could do to impact NFL viewership and maybe be a little bit more fun for the fans. But all kidding aside, obviously NFL 2026 Pro Bowl games tomorrow, the skills challenge, the flag football game. It's going to be very riveting. If you're just looking for something to watch. I mean, we were talking, Chad,
are they going to have a riveting competition? Are they going to actually have guys riveting? Is that a thing? They're going to make their own jeans? I don't know. That sounds fun.
That'd be wild. But it's, we talk about here in Ohio, obviously that big winter storm Fern hit a ton of the United States. Obviously the states that get a lot of snow are still getting, cold weather, snow, things like that. And just having like cabin fever for a lot of the, the colder states. And I'm sure people, are looking for things to do, especially where it is cold in wintertime. And so I guess, is it the Super Bowl? No. But is it some football, something, at least something to watch and hear from some of the people you'd like to hear from if you're a sports fan? Yes. So it's better than, tonight, and I'm a wrestling guy. Not as much as I used to be in terms of watching it every single week, but I actually put on Monday Night Raw, watched it tonight. I'm going to finish after we get done with the show. But all day, I'm like, man, there's like nothing to watch. At least tomorrow, like you turn on, TV or you tune into the Inside Edge Network, and hear some of our thoughts. You'll at least be able to have some like conversation about the Pro Bowl, Super Bowl stuff filing in, Media Row, like just things picking up. I think that's what we need. The world needs that. In the days of cabin fever, we need something, and Pro Bowl may at least give us some sort of excitement.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it would have done better on a typical football night, like a Sunday or a Monday, even a Thursday, a Saturday, anything? I don't know, a Tuesday feels so random to me. That's the only day. I guess that was the only day the Moscone Center was available. I don't know, they had weddings or something. I have no idea.
Yeah. They're like, sorry, we have a few weddings booked Saturday and Sunday, so we can't.
So we have a crochet convention on Sunday. We can't do. Oh, well, we'll take Tuesday, I guess.
Well, it must be because like Media Row is like heating up during the middle of the week, so maybe they want to get the Pro Bowl like as like the official like real commencement into like the swing of Super Bowl week. That's the only thing I could think of. But it is in San Francisco, like we mentioned at the Moscone Center. It was in Orlando, I believe, the last year or two. I mean, and before that, Honolulu. Papa Moon, shout out Papa Moon. But he goes, isn't it in Honolulu like it always is? I was like, oh no, Pops, it hasn't been in Honolulu in a minute.
Real quick story: Papa Moon fell asleep in 1999, and he just woke up. So we're all, he had a nice nap.
Yeah, hey, no, absolutely. Shout out Pops. You can check him out here on the Inside Edge Network if you want to hear some of his thoughts. Real Talk with Papa Moon, Saturdays at 5 p.m. Actually, is right after Chad TK. They do a legal formation around the 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Times here on the eastern coast of the United States. So really good stuff. And you guys had a great show this past week. Followed with a Sunday Sports Show, the debut of Sunday Sports Show, transitioning there from the NFL pregame show with Ryan Mosser and TK and yourself. So make sure you stay locked in. We got a lot of great weekend coverage, and all week long, Chad and I will be with you here on Inside Edge Primetime, back for another week. So, Chad, we talked a good amount of Pro Bowl stuff.
Yeah. And we didn't get canceled yet, Eli. Our program director did not cancel us yet. That's really good news.
Very good news. In fact, he might let us go another week if we keep doing all right.
Hey, so he doesn't watch.
With that being said, we are going to take a quick pause. We're going to let everybody grab a quick refreshment. If you need a quick bite, or if you're on the East Coast or West Coast, that is, maybe dinner time. So go ahead and grab dinner. Keep us on, put us up at the dinner table, put us on the big screen, and have dinner with Chad and I. We'll talk here about some Cleveland-centric stuff here for all of our Ohio peeps. Right now, obviously, we haven't won a championship in 10 years here in Cleveland. 2016, the Cavaliers were the last champion. And everybody talks about LeBron James being the king of Cleveland, as far as history says. Now, I'm not debating that per se, Chad.
Right.
But when it comes to right now, the Guardians, the Cavaliers, and the Browns, the main three sports teams here in Cleveland, who is the king of Cleveland right now? So with that, we'll discuss the three stars of these sports teams here in Northeast Ohio. And Chad and I will have a discussion of who we believe the king of Cleveland is right now. It may surprise you, or maybe you're on the same track as us. So that is Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network, and we'll be back right after this. And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime. To my right, your left is Chad Bryan. I am Eli Moon. And we just talked quite a bit about the 2026 NFL Pro Bowl games, which are taking place in San Francisco tomorrow. Just getting you excited more and more for the Super Bowl matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots. This Sunday, we'll have coverage all week long here on Primetime about obviously what happens in the Pro Bowl games. And then leading up to the Super Bowl, I haven't made my prediction yet for the Super Bowl, Chad. For those that are wondering why I haven't and why I would bring that up, I did do main event yesterday with Double A Anthony Alford, who it was his 34th birthday once again. Happy birthday. One more time, Double A here on the air. Hope you're enjoying the first full day of being 34. And then Rob Rizicki.
It's all down here.
You know. And then Rob Rizicki. But we went over the Super Bowl, and they made their predictions for who they feel is going to win. I did not make my prediction yet. They wanted me to wait, and I appreciate that.
Calling the game? No, you're not calling the game.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, unless you guys got news for me. But with that being said, I'm actually going to make my prediction on Friday. So on Friday, you hang on to your prediction because you're going to be on the air Sunday for the Sunday Sports Show. So you'll make your prediction with TK and and Ryan. But I'm going to make my prediction here on Primetime Friday.
All right. I will be sure not to miss it. Oh, wait, I'm on it. Oh, yeah, I'll be here.
Yeah. I hope you'll be here to hear it. But interesting enough, before we pivot here into what we're going to talk about here next, Double A and Rob both chose the Seahawks.
Okay.
And I think that, I guess that they are the favorite right now, but so decisively. Rob said by 10, the Seahawks would win. And Double A predicted that the Seahawks are going to have a walk-off touchdown. But the Patriots will cover the 4.5 spread.
Okay. All right. So last possession. That's fun. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I got a lot of thoughts here about the Super Bowl. We'll talk about them throughout the week, but I got a lot of things to say Friday. Very excited about that. So, again, this is Inside Edge Primetime. That's Chad Bryan. I'm Eli Moon. Again, we talked about the Pro Bowl. We're going to dive into Cleveland stuff here for this next segment. And for all our Northeast Ohio fans, we tend to use the word king and Cleveland, those two words, and then we think of one player, LeBron James, who won the only NBA championship here in Cleveland, first championship in 52 years, back in 2016 with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, J.R. Smith. Just all the guys out there that we love on that team. It's been a while, Chad, since we could really say there's been a king of Cleveland, somebody that stands out. Guys have been jockeying for the position. You could say over the last 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Now we're at a point now where every sports team in Cleveland, despite not having a championship, have made their mark on the city. And some have had kind of a tumultuous last few years. Yeah. Some have been smooth sailing, and some were just not sure if they might end up in a New York Knicks jersey. Oh, okay, I don't want to give too much away. But
Jose Ramirez, he's going to play basketball?
You just never know when you hear about the national media. You know, the national media, they always want to talk about Donovan Mitchell and a New York Knicks jersey. It's so silly. All jokes aside, we love Donovan here in Cleveland. We hope he stays here the rest of his career. Which leads me to the question. Who is the king of Cleveland right now? Is it Myles Garrett of the Cleveland Browns? Is it Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians? Or is it Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Is Mike Napoli not a choice?
He was actually left off of the ballot this year. They don't believe that he may be in the Prince of Cleveland category.
All right. Party at Naps. That was a fun time.
It was.
That was actually a really fun time. That team was a lot of fun. Oh, man. I think that for me, do you want me to answer this or are you going to go first? Do you want me to answer it?
I would love for you to answer it.
Okay. Well, there's no definitive answer because it's all opinion based. But I think to me, this is an easy question. It's an easy answer. I think a lot of people would agree with me. If you don't, by all means, let me know in the comments. If you're watching whatever and you disagree with me, I think it's got to be Jose Ramirez, right? I'm not even sure it's close. No disrespect to Donovan Mitchell. He is shouldering a lot of load, right, for the Cavs. He's asked to do a lot, and he does a lot for the Cavaliers. Myles Garrett, I don't think you can be the king of Cleveland if you've actively asked to get out of here. And again, no disrespect, because for what it's worth, last year when he made the trade request, demand, whatever you want to call it, I think a lot of people, including me, agreed with him or sided with him or at least felt, empathy, right, for him. We understood. I mean, the Browns felt like they were going nowhere. Supposedly promises were made, so he signed the contract. I think those promises had mostly to do with money. It's really hard to turn down money. Some familiarity, right? You get to stay here. You don't have to go get used to a new city, a new team, a new scheme, a new franchise, a new coach, blah, blah, blah. What the list goes on. There were rumors that, he was promised a certain quarterback and that fell through, whatever. I don't know. I have no idea. But I don't think you can really be the king of Cleveland if you've asked to get out of here in a kind of, like you said, a little bit of a tumultuous way. I assume you were speaking of Myles Garrett when you mentioned the word tumultuous a moment ago.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know that we can really crown him the king. I mean, I get he's got the single season sack record. He is the, no questions asked. He's the best player on the team, right? He may even be the best player at his sport in the city, but that's really close between him and Jose Ramirez. To me, it's Jose Ramirez. The guy literally took a hometown discount twice to stay here. He's just an amazing person, right? He's a competitor. He knocked Tim Anderson out. The list goes on, Eli, for reasons that I'm picking Jose Ramirez. He's a great family guy. Don't sue us, Fox. He's a great family guy.
Be careful. Yeah.
Anyway, he's a great guy. For all intents, he's a great teammate, great leader in the clubhouse. He's excellent with fans. I mean, there's just nothing. I couldn't even pretend to speak ill of Jose Ramirez in any way. To me, it's just an easy answer. It's Jose Ramirez.
Now, let me give you a follow-up because I really don't disagree with your thoughts.
Okay.
I do think Myles has caused too much of a ripple to be the king of Cleveland. I feel like we bought his love as far as the contracts that we've given him. And,
it's a messy divorce, and now we get him the nicest Christmas gifts. So
yeah, exactly. You look at Donovan, you look at Jose. I think it's Jose right now, clearly, because he signed not one but two extensions to stay here. You mentioned what he's done for the community, just a stand-up guy, very, very committed to Cleveland. Even it says, right now he's 50% Clevelander, and that's how he views himself. It's very cool. Now let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you another question. Because Donovan, here's where the tricky thing gets to here is, okay, the Cavaliers have won the last championship. So the franchise-wise, they should be the most loved, though we talked on the main event. We've talked here a little bit about Brownstown and how the city in Cleveland, Cleveland here, where we're based, they love the Browns. We love the Browns here. So I know a championship could completely change the landscape there, but seems like we're a little far off, and it may not happen in the Myles Garrett tenure, just being real. So with Donovan, though, everybody talks about him. I joked about, they talk about him being a New York Knick or anywhere else or this, but he's always on every commercial. They're interviewing him on ESPN for a Cavaliers game. He's an all-star, multiple time all-star, since he's been here. Signed a contract extension right when he got here, right, to make sure that, hey, I'm going to stay here. And makes me think, I think a championship could completely change the thinking.
Okay.
And I love Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
But think about the buzz that Donovan Mitchell has brought to Cleveland. Jose Ramirez is so I guess so let me take a step back. I guess when we define king of Cleveland, is it who put Cleveland on the map or who is loyal to Cleveland? Because if we're saying loyal, it's Jose Ramirez. He's been here his whole career, signed 2 extensions. And we know we're always going to compete with Jose Ramirez. That's not a question.
Yeah.
When you look at Donovan Mitchell, the Cavaliers started getting a lot more national media games, or nationally televised games. They started getting a lot more buzz. The Cavaliers were getting a lot more hate, as opposed to when it was before Donovan, and they're trying to figure it out with the Colin Sexton run and Darius Garland. Who's going to be the point guard? Who should go and who should stay? Yeah. But now the Cavs are in every conversation. It's a shock the Cavs aren't doing good, or if they aren't doing good, to the national media. That was never really the case after LeBron left for the first few years.
Yeah.
It makes me think, and the Cavs had their downfall in the second round, and they're trying to figure it out this year, but maybe they bring in, I know we're not supposed to say it too loud, but if they bring in Giannis, potentially.
He's
Or
got to
like,
start saying his name like that, right? Like that's excellent marketing, right? First of all, that's a cologne. Giannis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like smells like that's okay. I'm sorry.
But if they bring in Giannis, Chad, or whatever, and Donovan brings in a championship here in the next year or two,
yeah,
we could really be having a conversation of Donovan Mitchell being the next king of Cleveland. I mean, Jalen Tyson was ready to crown him as the next guy of the franchise.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's far off to think that based off the buzz he brings here and a potential championship, that Donovan Mitchell could be known as the greatest Cleveland athlete of the 2020s, which is a crazy statement to say, but here we are in 2026. We haven't had a championship in this decade so far.
Yeah, we love our titles here. All two of them. I don't count that. Listen, pre-Super Bowl titles are fun. They're fun to talk about. I know they lumped them in and they count those now. But to me, I mean, life was black and white back then. It wasn't even in color, right? Like literal life, not just TV. I don't know. I mean, you can count them if you want, and I'm not against it, but it feels a little weird to be like, hey, now we have these 5 champions, 6, whatever, right? Like, it's weird. I think Super Bowl 1 is where it starts. That's the modern era of football. You talk about the modern era of baseball. People pick and choose all the time. I saw a post the other day that was like, since 1969, here are the best single season ERAs. I'm like, well, what about Bob Gibson in 1968? Like, I get it. They lowered the mound. So I guess that, okay, the modern era is when they lowered the mound. That's fine. I get that. That's a tangible point where you can start from. You can say, well, Bob Gibson threw from a mound that was, 6 inches higher or whatever. Clear advantage. You got to hit the ball. It's moving on 2 planes now, right? It's coming down and it's whatever. And by the way, Bob Gibson was hella intimidating. So yeah, him throwing from a higher mound is terrifying. Basketball, I don't know. What's the modern era in basketball? I mean, do you, the Bird Magic, are we going from there? Not the 70s, right? So 1980, where do we draw that line?
Right.
I forget what I was doing. I don't even know what my point was. I got so worked up about the mound getting lowered in baseball. But yeah, I think you just have to start at modern era championships to really think about. So again, the Browns championships back in the day were fine. I know there are a lot of people still alive that saw those. It doesn't mean they didn't happen. They just weren't Super Bowl championships, and that's the ultimate measuring stick right now. I mean, I don't know. But you bring up an excellent point. If you do, not once you do, like it's a sure thing, but if you do win another championship, if you're the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell is the clear face of that team. But what, like you said, now what if they bring in Giannis and they win a championship? Now who?
You said it a little too loud, Chad.
Said
his name.
Giannis.
Yeah.
You bring in that guy, and here's a guy. Boom. And they win a championship. All of a sudden, he's the face of the franchise, right? Because he's the superstar. He's not the Cleveland guy, though. He's not Cleveland through and through. I mean, Donovan Mitchell's been here with us through, some thick and some thin. And it's a tougher argument than I thought. But I still think it's Jose Ramirez. I still think you have to give it to Ramirez. Here's the weird way I looked at it while you were talking. I thought, okay, so if the aliens came down, right, and we could send them one representative, this is a Cleveland guy. Doesn't have to be from Cleveland, right? It's just like, this is our one representative. Like, I don't know. Do you want him to? First of all, Myles Garrett's going to try to get traded there, right? He's going to be like, "Do you have football? I'll come sack your quarterbacks. Please bring me to your planet." We can't have that. Donovan Mitchell, I don't know. He might. I mean, I just think Jose Ramirez would be the guy. And there's nothing wrong. I don't mean to disparage Donovan Mitchell at all in any way. I just think if we had to send one representative to go talk to the aliens, if they pop down out of space today, I'd want it to be Jose Ramirez. I just feel like we would have the best chance of. If they're here for bad stuff, he'd save our city, right? Like somehow Jose Ramirez would save the city. You put the Superman cape on him, and now he's not only a top 5 player in MLB, he's also the guy who saved Cleveland. So, it was a weird way of thinking about it. But I just was trying to make a funny, reference. I'm like, well, let's go completely outside the box. I just think it's Jose Ramirez.
I mean, and I'm not going to argue with you. I don't think anybody in Cleveland's going to argue with you. I do think it is an interesting conversation, though. While we'll be here on the Inside Edge Network discussing on Primetime, because we're not going anywhere. We're just getting started as a network and here with the show on Inside Edge Primetime. So maybe in a year from now, we're having a different discussion about, hey, maybe it's Donovan City. Maybe he ends up on the big billboard right outside, there in downtown Cleveland where LeBron was once throwing up his signature, his signature move with the chalk. So
Right.
keep an eye on that. But that is our Cleveland-centric discussion. Appreciate everybody tuning in worldwide and listening in. Even if you're not a Clevelander, appreciate you hearing our thoughts. Again, make sure you go ahead and give us a follow, Inside Edge Net, on all the socials there on the ticker at the bottom, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. That's Chad Bryan to my right. I am Eli Moon. We have one more segment here in our hour of prime time. And Roger Goodell, he spoke to the media, Chad. He had some thoughts about the Super Bowl halftime show with Bad Bunny. He had thoughts about an 18-game NFL season. And he even had thoughts about Bill Belichick.
Okay.
So with that being said, we're going to talk about all of that when we come back. We'll give our final thoughts here before we wrap up this Monday and send you on your way. Again, this is Inside Edge Primetime. That's Chad Bryan. I'm Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network, and we'll be right back after this. And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime. That is Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network. And thank you for tuning in, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or somewhere in the United States or across the world. We appreciate you. We are your source for everything sports, entertainment, mental health, and everything in between. And we have talked quite a bit here. Today's kind of a slow news day for the most part on Monday. But we did talk about the Pro Bowl games taking place tomorrow. We talked about some Cleveland-centric things and who really has the crown in Cleveland right now as far as Jose Ramirez, Myles Garrett, and Donovan Mitchell go. And Chad, we have to discuss Roger Goodell to end this show.
Yeah.
End this primetime edition before we regroup for tomorrow in the evening once again. Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, spoke with the media, and he had some things to say. I guess I'm not sure where to start. I guess we'll start with an 18-game NFL season.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Goodell did mention when talking about the NFL and 18-game season that they haven't had any formal discussion. He did mention that the 16 to 17 games in 2021, that transition, expanding the season went quite smoothly. But Goodell said the NFL and the Players Union have not had any formal discussions about an 18-game schedule. He added that the two sides have had very little informal conversations. This is from the report from ESPN, again, from out in California, having that discussion today with the media. My question to you is, we just talked about the Pro Bowl and how we don't want, and the NFL probably doesn't want players getting hurt in meaningless games. We see how often there are meaningless 17 games, the 17th game for some teams, where they're resting players or they're out of it or whatever, or regrouping for next year if they had a down year. With all that being said, do you think there should be an 18-game NFL season? Is there any benefit other than the NFL making more money? Yeah, I mean, that's my question. I don't know how. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, I don't know. Physically, if you've ever played football at any level, it's pretty demanding. Obviously, adding another, it's just weird because then you take a preseason game off, and the big concern is, well, we want to eliminate preseason games because we don't want guys getting hurt. Well, guys get hurt in regular season games too. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any specific problem with an 18-game regular season. We're already at 17. It's not like we're adding 5 weeks or whatever to the season, right? If we're going to do this, would it be 2 bye weeks then for each team? Would you get 2 byes?
Yeah, that's what it would seem. You can't. I mean, you already have 1 bye for 17 games. You couldn't put an extra game and not expect to bye. And players have been pretty vocal about that. Even in this ESPN article, just reading from different players having discussions.
Yeah.
Even Cooper Kupp, it says in this article that he hinted that owners would have to give a bigger piece of the financial pie to get an 18th game done. For the 18th game to happen, there's obviously going to be some negotiation, Cooper Kupp said. There's some things give and take. Unfortunately, it's one of those things. If the 18th game is on the table, there's going to have to be some talks about what makes that worth it to the players. And we'll get to that point. We'll cross that bridge.
Yeah. Salary cap's going to have to go up. Roster sizes would probably have to increase at some point from 53 to 56, 57, maybe 60 guys. So here's a couple of things that happen. Now, you take a little bit of a risk of watering down some of the talent in the league, right? Because you can't keep adding weeks to the season and expect teams to run with 53 guys. It's too hard with IR. You can only put guys on IR for so many times. You practice squad guys, you shuffle back and forth. But sometimes you can't afford to. That's a tough situation anyway. And now you're adding 2 weeks to the season. So AA already lost the Super Bowl on his birthday weekend. That's ridiculous. First of all, that should be our main concern, is the fact that LA no longer has the Super Bowl on his birthday weekend. That's not fair. But now you're pushing it. I mean, now you're pushing it out almost to the end of February, right? Like now we're almost into March. The NFL is already this they've absolutely mastered being relevant the entire calendar year. Okay. I think the more football that you add, like I said, you're going to have to add players. Roster sizes are going to have to get bigger. You've got another 2 weeks of the season. I think you almost run the risk of watering down the product a little bit. And I get it. It's another week of football. Everyone's going to tune in. Yeah, sure, they are. But if they do this, Eli, if they do an 18-game season, can we please can we please explore the idea of doing rivalry weeks in the NFL? Can we please have like a divisional rivalry week? And then, if you want to have like a more there are some traditional rivalries that are outside the division or whatever, but I think we need a divisional rivalry week. Like it has to be like Browns, Bengals, Steelers, Ravens one week, right? When Sunday has to be that, or whatever, Monday, Thursday. Not for the Browns. We don't get primetime games. But I think you've got to like explore the idea of having something later in the season and early in the season. Early in the season to kind of drum up like, hey, in week 3, we get right into it, right? Like you get a couple weeks to get back into football, and then boom, it's rivalry week. And then, week 18, hey, I know the Browns, whatever, that's fine. They're 3-14 coming in. But you know what? At least they play the Steelers, right? Like they play the Bengals, something. It's the Battle of Ohio in week 18. It's Browns, Steelers. It's whatever. I think that would be a lot of fun. I just think that would be something to maybe soften the blow a little bit for some of these teams that are, like in the situation the Raiders or the Jets would have been in. Like, yeah, you're playing for the top pick, but now there's something legitimate, tangible. Like it's an actual rivalry game. It's a reason to watch. Sometimes rivalry games, it's not quite college football. I get it. But you still get that little bit of extra, there's a little bit of extra talk on Browns Ravens weeks. And they're not such a rivalry because, whatever, there hasn't been the history of like Browns Steelers, Browns Bengals or whatever. But it's a pretty big rivalry because they took our football team, right? Like that makes it an instant heated kind of a rivalry, I think you've got to explore the option of doing that. There has to be a reason to add an extra week other than just, well, hey, you guys don't understand. We make money hand over foot. Like play another game. You know what I mean? That just seems weird. Like Cooper Kupp said, you've got to make it worth it to the players. Salary cap's going to have to rise. Again, roster sizes are going to have to go up. Something's going to have to be on the table. It's going to have to be something watchable. Because if not, like I said, you just get so many games in there that like now teams quit in week 14 instead of week, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it, but if they do make the decision to do that, I think you have to add some kind of reason to watch late in the season because now your team just feel even more out of it. It's like another week to be not in the playoff hunt. Like you get tired of seeing that graphic and the Browns are never in it. You got to do something to make it A, fair to the players, worthwhile, and B, watchable for teams who have been out since week 12. I mean,
that and the injuries. We already saw like the amount of injuries.
Yeah.
And that happened before the playoffs, right before or during the playoffs. I mean, you mentioned Bo Nix going down in the AFC divisional game, the AFC divisional round before the conference championship, and they mentioned that it was an ankle injury that was going to happen at some point. It was almost inevitable. Yeah. But you imagine the wear and tear of a 17-game season. Now imagine an 18-game season, and what that does for the Broncos and, how that changes the seeding for the AFC. I mean,
yeah.
You got to imagine, with 3 preseason games, 18 games, a playoff run, you're playing almost 30 games.
Yeah. Maybe players are going to want fully guaranteed contracts no matter what now, right? Like there is no whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure you got to add something.
Yeah, you got to look out for the players. And Cooper Kupp mentioned that, that they're going to have these discussions. There is no formal discussions as of yet. But I'm sure they will definitely be ramping up here pretty soon. So keep an eye on that. Yes, Roger Goodell, NFL commissioner. He did speak today. As you're just tuning in, Chad, Bryan, Eli Moon, we're breaking down all of the commissioner's discussions, main points. Something else that caught my attention, Chad, was the mention of Bill Belichick and the NFL's role, or maybe not their role with the Hall of Fame. So with that being said, obviously for Bill Belichick, he needed 80% of the votes to become a first ballot Hall of Famer, a Hall of Famer in general, but it was his first year on the ballot. So he did not get that. Shocked a lot of people around the sports world. And when Goodell was asked about it, he said, "We are not involved in it. Bill Belichick's record goes without saying. Same with the Patriots and Robert Kraft, who is also a candidate. They are spectacular. They've contributed so much to this game, and I believe they will be Hall of Famers." And that's pretty much all he had to say as per the ESPN article. It seems like Goodell's kind of just staying away from this. The Hall of Fame's announced, made their statement that, we're going to look into this. And if voters are, if there's foul play being done here, then we're going to have to, people are going to lose their right to vote. I was very strong in my opinion yesterday on Main Event when talking about, the Bill Belichick Hall of Fame snub that any voter that is taking emotions into this, it shouldn't get a right to vote in this Hall of Fame. I even gave you a little credit for you saying here on this show. It's not the Hall of Fame, Hall of Most Liked, rather. It's the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And Bill Belichick should be in. He should have been in this year.
Yeah.
I even posed a question. What does this mean for Tom Brady? We've had a discussion on this show, and it's going to be interesting with Robert Kraft. We'll find out if he is a finalist, if he got into the Hall of Fame very, very soon here. Right this week.
If he did, Eli, we have a whole nother discussion on our hands, right? Because if Belichick has to wait, Kraft should have to wait.
Yeah.
I mean, he's every bit as involved, probably even more so in those things that you say that, maybe they weren't his schemes, but you don't do anything in an organization like that without the owner knowing of it or wind of it and being aware or whatever you want to say. I don't know. I don't think there's any situation where Bill Belichick ever texted Robert Kraft and was like, hey, can I film the Jets? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that happened. Even his texts have that tone of voice. It's amazing. But, I don't think it was necessarily like that. But listen, I mean, you don't do anything within a multi-billion-dollar organization without the owner knowing about it.
Yeah. And it's interesting that the NFL is staying away from it, considering that the NFL is pretty much the Hall of Fame. They are like the sports league, the football league that you go to the NFL or you go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. People even probably mistakenly call it the NFL Hall of Fame because that's what they think of. So for them to be like, we have nothing to do with it, just seems a little odd to me, especially when there's like this type of type of issue, because it's not like just somebody that had a good career and maybe should have been in. He got snubbed. This is a guy that
NFL guys in then, like.
I mean, yeah, it's what I'm wondering. Like, what exactly are we? What exactly is the Hall of Fame then? Because everything I've seen is NFL related. So if they have nothing to do with the Hall of Fame, then I'm just confused. So I guess maybe we need like more understanding on. I guess this whole thing, like, why is the NFL staying away from this when this is a pretty big deal? This is one of your most important legends. If you're like the NFL, you're mad that like the Hall of Fame is not honoring the actual legacy of the game, or maybe Goodell is just mad at Belichick. I mean, he did. Rob Rizicki brings up a main event yesterday that he brought it up rather that Bill Belichick upset a lot of people, and maybe that makes people feel like they can have this type of feeling towards Bill Belichick and kind of wreak havoc on him now because he couldn't when he was coaching on the football field.
Or maybe Robert Kraft paid his fines in an actual check or a wire transfer, and Bill Belichick paid his in pennies. We don't know. I mean, we have no idea. He could have done anything to upset Roger Goodell.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, with that being said, we have one more topic to discuss here about Commissioner Roger Goodell and his thoughts on the NFL and things going on. The Super Bowl is this Sunday, Chad.
Yes.
Bad Bunny is the halftime performer. Green Day is also going to be a part of, before the game, performing, I believe. So very exciting there. A lot of great stuff. Actually, shout out to Russell, independent artist out of Vallejo in the Bay. Obviously, the Super Bowl is in the Bay in California, and he's going to be doing a performance as well at some point during the Super Bowl. Very cool. On a side note, he did like obviously I make music as well, part of the collective La Hele. La Russell did a pay what you want for his album. So you could pay any price for his album. Yet even Kyrie Irving, I believe, paying $11,000 to the album. And so he sold, I think it was around 20,000, 21,000, I think, albums he sold in a month. Independently. So he's going to be performing at the Super Bowl too in some capacity. So very cool, and shout out to all those guys.
Yeah.
But Roger Goodell talked about Bad Bunny. Obviously, with the state of the world, it's going to be a pretty important halftime show. And
polarizing.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. Roger Goodell did mention when asked about Bad Bunny through this ESPN article, when he was asked about political statements, if he expected political statements from Bad Bunny, Green Day, or anybody else, any artist performing at the game. He said that Bad Bunny understands that the NFL is providing a platform to unite people and be able to bring people together. He says, quote, Bad Bunny is, and I think that was demonstrated last night, one of the great artists in the world, Goodell added, and that's one of the reasons we chose him. So he doesn't believe that there will be any statements. Now, if you watched the Grammys last night, Chad, and I don't know if you got a chance to see any of the Grammys, Bad Bunny, he won Album of the Year. First Latino artist to win Album of the Year. He was very emotional winning that. And congratulations to him. he's done almost everything, it seems like, at this point. He did some WWE. He wrestled in Puerto Rico against Damian Priest. I mean, he is just doing the thing. And obviously, during his speech, he let it be known his feelings towards ICE and in the world and everything going on right now in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question to you is, just, are you excited for the Super Bowl halftime show? Because we can get into it. We can get into the worldly things of it. But I think we know, obviously, what sometimes what doesn't need to be said is already understood.
Yeah.
And, with that being said, are you excited to see how this halftime show goes for Bad Bunny and all involved?
Yeah, I am. And sometimes I think I don't really like to touch the political part of it, right? It shouldn't be this much of a mess. And I think you have to remember that the First Amendment is the First Amendment. Like, you can't prevent someone from expressing their opinion because you disagree with it, right? Hate speech is not included in that, right? That we shouldn't be. Why is there? I mean, we shouldn't even be worried about hate speech. That's not even the thing. Work together to move forward, right? That should be the goal. That should be the plan. Yeah, you can't. Well, hey, that violates my opinion, so that doesn't fall under the First Amendment. Is not a thing. Okay, so just forget that. Okay. Everybody's going to have their own opinions. Every artist, every fan, every player, every coach, and it's perfectly okay for them to express those opinions. Like, don't tell people to just dribble. Don't tell people to just run the football. Don't whatever. Just go sing. These are human beings, right? With feelings, and they have opinions, and it's perfectly fine that they get to express those feelings. So that out of the way, yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I think for one, there's going to be a lot of eyes, on the halftime show. And I'm just interested to see, just from the human interest side of it. I just want to see how it goes. Yeah, I mean, things are very charged in the world right now. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish that, I wish we didn't have these two divisive sides of America versus America. It's nonsense. People versus people, for that matter. We all are human beings. We live on the same planet. There is absolutely no reason we shouldn't be fighting over religion. We shouldn't be fighting over, whatever. Your policies are better than my policy. Or nobody says that. My policies are better than your policy. It's nonsense, right? Well, it's just hard to touch this topic without talking politically. Really, Eli.
Yeah.
It's a polarizing thing, and everything shouldn't be so us versus them, right? But it is, and it always has been. And maybe it always will be, which makes me a little sad, to be honest with you. I guess naive. Maybe I was a little naive when I was a kid. I thought, well, it's just America, right? It's red, white, but we all work together. Like, it's the melting pot. It's this, it's that. It doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels like it's very much, us versus them, me versus you. Whatever. You can get into all the sides. It's not really a constructive conversation anymore. It grades to name calling, and it just people make really weird comments online about it. No one's willing to hear out anything from the other side, and you got to understand that when people say things that are so offensive, so really things that violate the basic principles of our Constitution, there are going to be people that are upset about it, right? Yes, the First Amendment is the First Amendment, but again, I don't think that was ever designed to promote hate speech and to promote violence and to promote whatever else is going on. So yeah, I guess maybe in my little world, Eli, I'm just going to be naive and just watch the halftime show for what it is. It's going to be a musical act. I'll watch Green Day, I'll watch Bad Bunny, whatever Green Day before the game, whatever. And I'm excited to see the Super Bowl, right? I don't want it to devolve into this huge argument where it's like one side versus the other. We know that it's probably going to, unfortunately, and things get misconstrued. I mean, there were arguments over just last year's Super Bowl show, the halftime show. And it's like the simplest thing. And now there's a counter halftime show. We've never done that before. It's just everything.
It's odd.
It is odd. Everything. Well, what about my show? What about my this? What about my that? What about our show? What about our halftime show, man? This is America. We're a country. We are on the same side. We're supposed to be on the same side. The two-party system isn't designed to be an all-out brawl, but it's supposed to work together, right? It's supposed to be something that works in unison. And again, I'm not trying to get into the political aspect of it, but it's not working in unison. It hasn't for quite some time. Quite honestly, it feels like the two-party system's a little bit broken, and that leaves, there's like a divide right down the middle of the country. It's unnecessary. It doesn't have to be this way. So yeah, I just wish it was just a halftime show, right? I don't. What's the point? I mean, this is a huge art. You can say that this isn't relevant. This isn't what the people want, but this is the album of the year. This is the artist who won album of the year. I mean, there's not more of a ringing endorsement.
And album of the year, like out of all categories, all genres, that is, Bad Bunny won album of the year. I mean, a historic Grammy win. You mentioned Chad, Kendrick Lamar last year. Yeah, Dr. Dre, a few years, about what, 4 or 5 years ago now.
Which was just my wheelhouse from I mean, that's the music I listened to growing up. That was really cool to see.
And just, I mean, very, just powerful performances.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for.
I don't listen to Maroon 5, but I watched that halftime show and I was like, okay, that was cool, whatever. Prince had a great one. I think sometimes if you embrace things that you don't understand and try to maybe learn a little bit about them, or learn like what makes that artist tick, or what makes the people who listen to that artist tick, I think it's a lot easier than just going, that's not my cup of tea. Not going to watch it. Don't care. Yeah, it's such an ignorant way to look at it. I mean, if you take the time to learn about the things you don't understand, you might not fear them so much.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm excited for Bad Bunny. I'm excited for the halftime show. I'm excited for the Super Bowl. And like I said earlier on in the show, I'm going to give my Super Bowl prediction on Friday here on Inside Edge Primetime. So make sure you stay tuned in all week here on the Inside Edge Network.
Yeah.
And Chad, I've had a great time starting the week off here, man.
Yeah.
We're going to dive into our final thoughts because you know what? I'm sure we have a few things we didn't cover, or things we'd like to just get off our chest here before we dive into our Tuesday. So
I just got a lot off my chest right there. I might be all good. Maybe it's your final thought now.
Well, I'll open up the floor to you first. Do you have any final thoughts here before we wrap up this Monday edition of Inside Edge Primetime?
No, just soak the last week of football up, man. It's going to be a long time before we see, professional football again. There's all that. I mean, I know there's the spring leagues and stuff, but USF, whatever. And those are fun to watch, but it's not professional football. It's not NFL. It's not college football. For me, there's nothing better than college football. I love watching the NFL. It's fun. But even as a baseball guy, I love college football season. I can't believe how fast it went. So if you're an NFL person, if you're out there and you love the NFL, I mean, soak it up. We're down to all the press stuff. That's always fun. Somebody always makes a star of themselves. There's always a kid on press row that's like, a superstar. I think that's always fun to see. Because this is supposed to be about fans, right?
Yeah.
The ultimate thing is like, it should be about the kids, right? The kids are the most important fans that we have. Kids are the most important thing that we have in the world, period. Everything really should revolve around them. It should be a lot of fun. So let's not argue this week. Let's just soak all the football in. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy the Super Bowl. Let's watch the Seahawks play the Patriots. You may not like the Patriots. I don't know why in the world you wouldn't like the Seahawks. I mean, they haven't done anything to anybody, but just try to, like I said, just soak up this last week of football and just try to put down your differences for a week and just, man, enjoy the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl 60. I mean, we've done this 60 times now and we're fighting about the halftime show. Like, let's just chill out and enjoy football for a week. Let's just have fun. Well,
I'm with that. Also, with that being said, we're talking about football. Browns and Saints in Paris. We did talk about that today, but our new head coach here in Cleveland Browns head coach Todd Monken, is going to be speaking to the media here in Cleveland tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we will have coverage of that on Inside Edge Primetime here at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Chad and I. And we'll also talk about the Browns and Saints in Paris. I mean, couldn't think of two better teams to send to Paris debut, in France, than the Browns and the Saints. So
which is this? Like, what? They're going to be like, what is this football? Like, we don't want this football. Why did they send us these teams? You know what I mean? Like, At least there's the fleur de lis. I guess you got that for the Saints. That would
Yeah,
be
absolutely.
I don't know what else that game offers to the people of Paris, but whatever. That's it's going to be, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, we'll have to keep it.
Sorry, Paris. We're sorry.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Todd Monken will have reaction on his talk with the media, his press conference. We'll talk about Browns and Saints some more in Paris and just break down that and talk about the NFL just going global more and more. And we'll also talk about some more sports stories that break throughout the day. And we'll keep you on your toes out there, America and the world. Okay, we'll talk about some fun stuff though. We got Inside Edge Primetime all week long, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sometimes we do start a few minutes after. You caught us today around 10:30. So just go ahead and do us a favor. Follow, subscribe to the Inside Edge Network on Inside Edge Net. You'll get an alert when we go live. So if we are running a little behind, you can get tuned in right when we get on live. Yep. So, but typically within that 10 o'clock hour, 10 to 11, you see as today we went a little bit past 11. It's 11:48. So we gave you a little over an hour. Just wanted to get some stuff off of our chest and talk about some important things here. So that is the end of this edition of Inside Edge Primetime. We'll be back tomorrow with a very, very fun show and some more, some fresh Cleveland Browns news and so much more. So with that being said, make sure you give Chad Bryan a follow at Real Chad Bryan. I am Eli Moon at the man they call Moon. And this is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday. We got about 12 minutes left on the East Coast, so soak it in and get ready for your Tuesday. And we'll be back with you to recap very eventful another day in sports. Till then, this is the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan, Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime. See you tomorrow.